Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is a quick overview of the bosses in the Darkheart Thicket as they appear on the Legion Alpha. Darkheart Thicket is a 4-boss dungeon coming in Legion, where you'll fight to the source of the nightmare corruption in Val'sharah. Arch-druid Glaidalis was a well-respected druid authority until he fell under the influence of the nightmare, and now he's here. Grievous Leap will spring the boss onto a player, hitting them heavily and leaving them with the Grievous Tear bleed. He then leaps back and does the same thing. Grievous Tear will continue to do damage until the target is healed past 90% of their health pool, so as a healer, you want to prioritize those. Primal Rampage is a frontal cone attack that does huge damage and knocks players back. He follows it up with a forward charge that deals more damage and another knockback. Unless you're the tank, you really shouldn't be in front of this. Nightfall will happen throughout the fight, leaving gross little nightmare splotches on the ground that should be avoided. It's a pretty basic fight and shouldn't give you any trouble as long as your group is mostly awake. Oakheart is an ancient who grew out of Shadid itself, and now he's looking a little corrupted and needs to be chopped down. Shattered Earth does damage around Oakheart and a small knockback. Most of your group is almost certainly going to eat this, but it's easily healable, so no big deal. Strangling Roots emerge under players, dealing damage over time and rooting them for a minute or until destroyed. You can DPS down these roots, or you can use freedom effects or druid shapeshifts to bypass that step. Nightmare Breath is a big frontal cone breath that will kill you if you're caught in it, which makes getting out of those roots extra important. Crushing Grip will target a player, doing heavy damage to them and then throwing them on the ground for some AoE damage. Use a defensive cooldown on the gripped player and then spread out a little so you don't all get schmucked with that smackdown. Dresaron used to tend to the whelps under the World Tree, but like everything else around here, he's become engulfed in the nightmare. Leading up to and fighting the boss, you'll see these nightmare eggs around the room. Touching the eggs spawns whelps. Don't touch the eggs. Breath of Corruption is another frontal cone breath attack, and much like the last one, this will also ruin you. Downdraft does damage to your group over 8 seconds while pushing players back. You need to run against this and use movement speed if you have any to avoid getting shoved into the whelp eggs. It's a good bet that some whelps will end up spawned at some point, so AoE those down before they cause any real trouble. Earth-shaking Roar does damage to the group and will need to be healed through. This is one of those fights that's either really easy or absolutely nuts depending on how likely your group is to trip on stuff. Shade of Xavius is a familiar face and he's at the heart of this mess stirring trouble. He'll cast Nightmare Bolt on random players, which will smack them for a giant chunk of health which your healer will need to deal with. If you get bolted twice in a row and didn't get topped up, you are probably toast. Feed on the Weak does damage to a random target over 5 seconds, and like Nightmare Bolt, that just has to be healed through. Growing Paranoia will do damage and horrify any player standing near their allies, so spread out for that. Apocalyptic Nightmare will bring some lovely raining fire for you guys to dodge, just to make things fun. Finally, Festering Rip will leave a bleed on a target and reduce their healing taken by 15% for 8 seconds. This all adds up to make the final fight chaotic, but not super complicated. Spread out, dodge the raining fire, and buy your healer some cupcakes or something. So that's Darkheart Thicket. Overall, this dungeon took us roughly 45 minutes, including some wipes and DCs, so it should be closer to 30 for a good run. It was cool getting to explore the corruption, and it sets us up to dive into the Emerald Nightmare raid. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!